again, I just want to thank everybody for coming out here today. What a tremendous effort and support. When I was thinking of Memorial Day, I guess I got a few words to share. I'll try to do something. It took me a little while growing up to differentiate between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Veterans Day in November is reserved for all those that served in the armed forces, and they're thanked, and everybody appreciates their service, and rightfully so. But Memorial Day, as I quickly realized with being in the Navy for 24 years, is really reserved for those, as Lincoln said, that gave the last full measure of devotion, which Ernie did. When this tribute is really, really special to his family, to us. To let you know some stuff about Ernie, Ernie was a really quiet, honorable young man. He stood about 6'4", 6'3". He was a crew specialist. In fact, he's the only one that I know, including Joe Polino there, that was able to skip the first 2 days of plebe summer because he was rowing over in England. I forget where, but Ernie can tell me the race that he was in. Henley, which is a very prestigious race, and to date, I still don't know anybody that gets to show up to the boat school 2 days late, but Ernie was able to. But he always kept his head down. He was, like I said, very quiet, but just an outstanding guy. He never complained. He never did. He just went about his business and got it done, and he really was a special guy. I guess a personal story of the kind of person he is. I spent a career going to summer school at that place, and one night I was going to be late for muster, and let me take this off. And they're very stringent upon muster at Annapolis, and you were going to stand restriction. And I had purchased this new car, and it had a shifting problem, and so I was stuck 40 yards from a parking place that I was going to have to get the car parked, get to muster, and it just wasn't going to happen. I couldn't get the car in gear. Up walks Ernie, middle of the night, it's 10:45, he's like, hey, let's push it. I'm like, what? So we get the car rolling, and it's a flat surface, but you know, it's a big car. And so it starts rolling, and he's like, okay, jump in now, and steer it into the parking place. I'm like, really? All right, well, you know, and that's just the kind of guy Ernie was. He was just a special guy that he just always went that extra mile for you. I was fortunate enough to have lunch with Ernie's roommate from Annapolis on Thursday, Jack O'Brien, who is unable to make it today. He lives in California. Jack just wanted me to pass on that how seriously Ernie took crew. Now, I guess a light note of it, he said, just make sure that they know how smelly that room was for 2 years with all those sweat here. I was going to relate some naval aviation stories and SEAL stories to training accidents in the military. I primarily served in peacetime. I did the 2003, 4, 5 defense of Iraq and Bosnia and whatnot. But in that course, you know, by the time I was 30 years old, I had 30 friends that had been killed in either SEAL or aviation accidents. And it's a very dangerous, exciting young career. But, you know, whether it's peacetime, whether it's wartime, you're always preparing for the battle. And that was ultimately what, you know, Ernie ran into out there in California. And, you know, as I said, as Lincoln said, that is the last full measure of devotion, preparing for battle or for the defense of this country. And so again, thank you for the square. And I guess the final testimony to, you know, what kind of person Ernie is 18 years later, after being here for this service, my wife and I and my kids are out here, and you guys have this very special day, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. Next we'll have